So we're going in the Montego, Peggy. Where are we going?
We're going to Stanton Country Park to meet our friend Alan Jones.
We're taking the Montego because we're going to visit its little brother. There was 6.3 million of these particular vehicles made, but somehow they managed to put a little bit of spice in there. Every single one is individual. They did make several versions, so without giving it away too much, there's a Clubman version, there's a pickup version, there's a van version, a saloon version, and they made like a kit car beach type buggy one.
Also known as the Moke and the Scamp.
And the Scamp, yeah, they used the Scamp. Finally got a bit of clear road now. Trouble with traffic, you might need a smaller vehicle. So maybe we'll go and visit a smaller vehicle. The Austin Mini. The Austin Mini was made from 1959 to the last one that rolled off the production line in 2000. 6.3 million of them. Unfortunately, mostly made at Longbridge, with the panels and everything being made at Cowley and Swindon, but Longbridge is there no more. Last one rolled off the production line in 2000, and Cowley was demolished not much longer afterwards.
Longbridge,
that's the one. So without boring you too many of the facts, when it was released under two names, the Austin 7 and the Morris Mini Minor. In 1961, the Austin Mini, Austin named it the Austin Mini, and there it had its name Austin Mini for therefore until about 1988. That's when it all, over the years, BMC changed. There was Austin Rover,
Leyland.
There were several brands, but from about 88, 89 onwards, it went under the Rover banding, and the last few were made under the Rover Mini badge from 89 up until 2000, when the Rover Mini Sports rolled off the production line as the 6.3 millionth one to come off the line, and that was the end.
My name's Alan Jones.
What's the make and model of the car you've bought us today?
So it was, when it came off the factory, a Mini City E with a 1 litre engine. It still had the 1 litre engine when I had it. When I bought it, it doesn't anymore. It's on its 5th engine, I think, since I've owned it, but then I've had it for quite a while now.
13 years, you said?
13 years in 2 weeks, yeah. 1st of November this year, 2017, is 13 years. I bought it just as I started seeing my now wife, and it was an impulse purchase, but we'll go into that a little bit later on.
Good.
It's now got a 1293 with a stage 3 head in it and a 286 cam with flat top pistons, so it's only done about 150 miles since the new engine's been in, but
wow.
As soon as it's had a bit more running in, it will be tuned properly. I'm hoping to have around the 100 brake horsepower out of it, which would be quite nice. It definitely wants to fly. You can feel it as soon as it gets to about 2,500 revs. It really does want to get off, but I just can't really put my foot down at the moment.
What made you choose the Mini?
So Minis have always been in my family. My grandmother bought one brand new in 1968, and she was offered the last of the Mark 1s or the first of the Mark 2s, and decided on the last of the Mark 1s. So she had the last one in the showroom, and it was a Mark 1 Super Deluxe with an 850 engine in it, which my family owned until about 10 years ago. But it was beyond repair, and we gave it to someone else. At the time when I bought this one, I had 7 or 8 other cars, mainly Minis, in different states of repair, and a daily runner, which was a lovely BMW 3 Series, classic though. Not particularly a fan of modern vehicles. And I went to a show in Malvern with my now wife, and we were going to the IMM in Spain the following year. And I said to her, look, here's my checkbook, I'm not allowed to buy another car. And her response was, of course you're not going to buy another car, where the bloody hell would you put it? So I said, we won't even go near the for sale section. Unfortunately, when we joined the queue went through the for sale section. And I managed to talk myself out of every car in the for sale section. And this one was the last one before the doors. And I stopped and looked at it and thought, ooh. So I had a quick chat and he said it's got 1,000 in it. I went, well, that won't go over the Pyrenees, but I've got an engine in the garage that'll go in that. And yeah, so for the rest of the day, every now and then my wife would look at me and go, you're thinking about that bloody car, aren't you? And I went, yeah. She went, are you going to buy it? I went, yeah, I think I am. So on the way home, I phoned the bloke and gave him an offer. £2,000. I picked it up a week later and then flogged all the other minis that I had, bar one, in order to pay for all new suspension, all new interior. In fact, that's the third interior that it's had over the years. What else did it have? It had new brakes, complete new front brakes, vented discs, 4-pot calipers, new rear drums. Yeah, pretty much I think the roof and one of the wings is all that's left of the original car. But yeah, it's good fun, good fun.
Explain in detail if you had any modifications done to your car.
So like I said earlier, there's not a lot of the original car left. So it's got a carbon fibre boot lid, which I bought as an impulse at a show once. It was kind of like a factory seconds. They made it. It wasn't quite up to standard, and I bought it. But as you can see from the photographs, it's gone a bit milky. So I pretty much want to replace that with a new one. But they're prohibitive in cost. So we're just trying to figure out whether I want to justify it or not. The front has a new carbon fibre bonnet from Carbon Weasel, and it's really, really high quality. I'm very impressed with it. I was surprised at how good it was for the price when I purchased it, but that was when they were first starting out. As far as the interior goes, it's got a John Cooper steering wheel that was a wedding present from my wife. So on the morning of our wedding, I gave my wife a watch to make sure that she got there on time. And when I got to the wedding, one of my ushers handed me her present, and it was the steering wheel for the Mini. Aww. So yeah, no matter what happens, if the car goes, that steering wheel will stay. I've got a spare one somewhere in the garage, it'll go on instead. As far as modifications to the car, it's got a tow hook on it, as you can see. The trailer was a purchase a few years after I bought the car. Brake wise, it's got uprated drums and brakes on the back. It's got 4-pot and vented discs on the front. It's a bit of a pain when you want to run 10-inch wheels, because there's only a handful of 10-inch wheels that will fit over those brakes, and I was hoping to use the same wheels that are on the trailer on the car, but they wouldn't fit over the flipping brakes. So yeah, new pair of boots for it this year. When it went through its MOT, it's been off the road for a while now whilst the engine was being done. So yeah, the kids love the fact that it's back on the road. Interior wise, new seats. It's had a few different seats over the years, from classic Mini seats to full race buckets, which I prefer, but you can't get car seats for kids in them. So it currently has a set of Ford Recaros in grey. And I managed to find a grey rear seat from Auto Jumble to go with it. They're comfortable, I like them. They're not my favourite seat, but it means that I can take the kids in the car and I can take the whole family out, so that was more important at the time. As far as the engine goes, it's had various engines. I bought it with a 1 litre and immediately put a 1293 in it, which I then had a head gasket failure on a week before driving to Spain.
Oh no!
So a quick ring around of the club, and one of my lads went, "I've got a 1275 you can borrow." I said, "Is it any good?" He said, "Well, this guy dropped off a Metro. I blasted up and down the street and I ripped the engine out. I think it's all right." But we put it in and it did us fine. Drove us all the way to Spain and back. Didn't blink an eyelid at all. It was just amazing. When we got back, I bought it off him for 50 quid. And ran it for a couple of years before it threw a piston ring, and then took that out. Had a 1380 in it for a little while, which was an absolute screamer, but I ran out of fuel twice going to and from work. So having to phone my wife or my dad to come and give me a bit more fuel so I could get home was a bit embarrassing. And then this one is that engine that I borrowed from my friend. I took it to Rob Walker's and I asked him to do some machining work for me. So he's matched each piston to the bore. He's lightened and balanced the crank, the con rods, the piston rods, the flywheel's been balanced, the clutch has been set up. It's had quite a lot of work, and the head came off the 1380, so it's been heavily ported. I don't know what stage it's at, but I think it's like a stage 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit lumpy on idle, but as soon as you get over 2,000 revs, it takes off like a scolded cat, which is great fun.
Have you got any future plans for your Mini?
For the Mini, not really. Just enjoy driving it for the time being. There will come a time where I'll have to sell it, and I don't really want to do it, but I've got other projects. I've got a T25 camper van that I bought recently, and I need to spend some money on that now. So instead of spending money on this, I'll be spending money on the camper. But as far as this goes, really, the last few bits and pieces are to do with the trailer. The trailer's the wrong colour. It's the colour it was when I bought it, so I want to sort it out. It had a few little rust spots, as you can see, at the bottom of the bumper, which I've treated and filled, and just need to rub it all back and spray it to match the car. My wife has told me that I must keep the sticker "Does my bum look big in this?" because she thinks it's hilarious. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got to it. You know, last thing, probably get it decently tuned, put the setup on a rolling road, because it's running a little rich, hence the black splatters all over the front of the trailer at the moment. So, but other than that, no, nothing else.
No shows?
I like going to mini shows. I'll probably go to Castle Coombe one at the end of September. That's more of a tradition because it's the weekend, usually the weekend of or just after my son's birthday. But a lot of the big shows now, they don't seem to be family orientated. I find that when you go to it, they're definitely tailored to the early 20s, you know, late teens, early 20s, who've got expendable cash and just want to buy cheap crap rather than something that, you know, would add value to the vehicle. You know, these crappy chrome trims and you know, extra dials and all that sort of stuff. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And the sites where you can camp, the shows where you can camp after hours now, it's, you know, even in the family area, there's still too much noise. And you know, when you've got kids and you want to take your family to things, it's just not the same. I'm afraid to say we've been to a few VW shows, and the atmosphere at a VW show is just completely different. It's entirely down to being part of the family and getting everybody involved, whereas mini shows at the moment are still very much aimed at younger people with expendable cash, and it's just not fun anymore.
Right, we know you don't like to be in the video, mostly.
Yeah, I prefer being behind the camera.
Behind the camera,
Yeah.
which you've done a great job. But we do have something in the boot of the old Montego that
Okay.
you might be interested in, which we'd like you to be on camera for.
Okay.
He has no idea what's in.
It better not be something naughty.
There's nothing naughty.
Go on then.
It's open. Pop it up.
Where's the... Ah, it's
There you
unlocked
go.
already.
It's square.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Alright.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Thank you.